One more? Yes.
Alan, you are demonstrating the power of culture, because even if you never win the nomination, you are talking about these things and you are affecting the culture. So shouldn't we really concentrate on certain issues without necessarily talking about legislation? Isn't there a lot of common ground among pro-life and pro-choice Republicans? Can't we all agree on one fact, which is we want to bring down the tragically high number of abortions? Can't we do this through many ways, through encouraging adoptions, supporting crisis pregnancy centers, encouraging abstinence, sex education, doing an awful lot that can be done culturally, that can really bring us together on one thing we can all agree, and there are pro-choice Republicans here and there are pro-life Republicans here. I challenge anybody here to be pro-abortion. They do not belong in the Republican Party if they think abortion is right. But there is room in our party for both these positions if we can all agree to work very hard, not just to pay lip service, but to work very hard to bring down the number of abortions.
You see, but I agree. At a practical level, who could deny this? There's an evil out there, let's work to reduce it. Okay, it's very, very clear. But, you know, in terms of the basic problem we face, the question that faces this people is that first statement. There is an evil out there. What do you do about it? Well, that depends on the nature of the evil. There are some evils in this society that are kind of private evils. What I mean by that is they are issues of private conscience. And to put not too fine a point on it, between any two adult human beings behaving reasonably responsibly at the time, what they did in their bedrooms last night, I may or may not disapprove of it morally. It is by and large considered in this society none of my business. I will not make it my business. On the other hand, that's an issue of private conscience. Why? Because at some level, there are certain issues like whether you eat pork, drink wine, and so forth, where we agree to disagree. There are religious differences, among other things. There are differences in our sense of how the principle of good applies, right? Is abortion an issue of private conscience that we can kind of work to alleviate when we have a little common agreement on it and otherwise leave alone? It is not. It is a challenge to the fundamental public principles of this regime. If you believe that an evil injustice exists that contradicts the basic premise of this society, and you sit back and say, well, let's tolerate it for a while longer, I'm sorry, you'll excuse me if I don't have sympathy for that. Do you know why I don't have sympathy for that? I don't have sympathy for that because it's that attitude that kept my ancestors in chains for several centuries before somebody finally decided to do something. Oh, we know it's wrong, but you know, we'll deal with it some other time. Let's see if we can work to keep it out of the territories, reduce it a little bit here or there, do this or that. But it doesn't work. Do you know why? Because in the end, that question always keeps coming back. If the thing is evil in that public and fundamental sense, why do you tolerate it? If the thing is evil in that public and fundamental sense, why are you, if the thing is not evil in that public and fundamental sense, why is it your business to work to make it rare? You see? That's what the contradiction in Bill Clinton's position. He wants abortion safe, legal, and rare. Only thing I know that's good when it's rare is maybe a steak, but other than that, I don't think so. So what you're asking me to do, Ariana, is say to the American people that on this fundamental issue of the Declaration, we can turn our back on the challenge to our principles while we try to work at some practical level to reduce an evil when we can't even call that evil by its name. No, it doesn't work. Because at the end of the day, you come across without conviction. And you come across without conviction especially to your young. Because they know better. They know that if the thing is bad, you'll want it stopped. If the thing is good, then you will tolerate it. If the thing is harmful, then you will really try to discourage it. And in the end, they will draw the lessons which are the lessons of your principles. And in this case, the lesson of your principle is that it's okay to harden your heart against your offspring. It is okay to treat that offspring as a dehumanized obstruction and to remove it when it gets in your way. That is the lesson you teach. That is a lesson incompatible with civilized life. We don't reduce the incidence of that. We must break that in principle. And that's the problem here. Abortion is not just wrong in fact. It is, in light of our common principles as a people, wrong in principle. And it is that issue that in the end we must address.